I'm going to keep it straightforward because I know the biggest frustration when you're looking at a portable espresso machine is wondering whether it's just another gimmick or something that actually fits into the way you live. You've probably seen a lot of ads promising Rechargeable Crema on a campsite, and the fear of spending money on a device that ends up collecting dust in a closet is real. In the next few minutes I'll walk through what the Lai Gou portable espresso machine actually does when you take it out of the box, how it behaves in the kinds of situations most owners care about, and whether the price point feels justified. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the thing that sets this model apart from a lot of the other handheld brewers is the visual pressure gauge. Most portable units just give you a vague pump until you feel resistance Q, which leaves a lot of room for under or over extraction. With a dial that actually reads 0.15 bar, you can see the pressure build in real time and stop when you hit the sweet spot for a proper espresso shot. In practice, that means you spend less time guessing and more time tasting a shot that has the kind of thick, caramel-colored crema you'd expect from a CAF machine. Now, let's talk about the battery. It's marketed as long-lasting, and that's not just a marketing line. The built-in lithium-ion pack can pull off roughly 15-20 standard 30-second pulls on a full charge. If you're planning a weekend in the backcountry with 2 people, you could realistically get through a morning espresso ritual for each day without having to hunt down a power source. When the battery does run low, the unit supports a USB-C input, so you can top it up from a power bank, a solar panel, or even a car outlet if you're on an RV road trip. One of the practical strengths I've seen from people who actually take this thing on the road is the flexibility of placement. The base is wide enough to sit steady on a camp table, a kitchen countertop, or the flat surface of a folding chair back. There's a built-in cup holder that keeps the shot glass from sliding off when the pump is engaged, which is a small but surprisingly useful detail when you're juggling a kettle, a bag of beans, and a sleeping bag in a tight space. But there are trade-offs you need to weigh. The machine is definitely portable, but it's not pocket-sized. At about 2.5 kilograms, you'll need a dedicated spot in your backpack or a separate carry case. That weight is mainly due to the stainless steel brewing chamber and the battery, which are necessary for durability and consistent pressure. If you're a day hiker who wants to shave a few grams off your pack, this might feel like an unnecessary bulk. On the flip side, if you're the type who sets up a small coffee station at a campsite, or you want an office companion that doesn't tether you to a wall outlet, the size becomes an advantage rather than a burden. Another point that comes up often with portable espresso makers is the grind consistency. The Lai Gou doesn't come with its own grinder, so you're dependent on pre-ground coffee or a separate grinder you bring along. For the best crema, you'll want a fine, espresso-grade grind, and that can be tricky to achieve with a compact hand grinder. In my own testing, using a high-quality, finely ground beans from a local roaster gave the machine the most satisfying shots. If you settle for a coarser grind, the pressure gauge will still climb, but the extraction will taste weak and the crema will be thin. So the practical weakness here is the reliance on a good grind source, which adds an extra piece of equipment for true coffee enthusiasts. Let's walk through a typical use case. You're waking up in a tent at 6 a.m., the temperature is still dropping, and the first thing on your mind is a strong espresso to kickstart the day. You pull out the Lai Gou, fill the water reservoir with hot water you've just boiled on a camp stove, add your finely ground beans, tamp lightly with the provided tamper, and start pumping. The gauge climbs to about 9 bar, you hear the characteristic hissing as the water forces through the puck, and in under a minute you have a 30 milliliters shot with a velvety crema on top. You sip, you feel the caffeine surge, and you've used only a fraction of the battery. That whole sequence feels intentional, not forced, and the fact that you can see the pressure means you can experiment with slightly higher or lower bars to dial in personal preference without guessing. Contrast that with a scenario where you might skip this machine. You're a commuter who grabs a coffee on the way to work and you rarely make espresso at home. You probably don't need a pressure gauge or a rechargeable battery because you already have a reliable kitchen espresso machine. In that case, the portability premium.